Hi everyone, this deck review has been highly requested, but since this deck just came out very recently, I did want to spend a little bit of time with it before I reviewed it, but I wanted to get a review out for you guys before Halloween/Samhain. So I am very excited to review today the Halloween Oracle by Stacey DeMarco. I don't have the box with me at the moment. The deck is published by Blue Angel Publishing. So the box itself is nice and sturdy. It's one, to keep and that you'll want to store your deck in if you're traveling or anything like that, or if you're someone who likes to keep their decks in the original boxes. I believe the inside color in the deck box is purple, but you can check out Avalon Cameron's reveal of the Halloween Oracle. She actually shows you the box there if you're interested in that. I'm pretty sure it's purple, but I'm not 100% sure on that. The image on the deck box is of the Skull of Flowers. This is the guidebook that accompanies the deck. The card size is a typical Blue Angel size. It's much larger than a tarot deck. So it's quite a large deck, and the cardstock itself is nice. I think it's nice and sturdy, and a cardstock that will work, really well for you, last for a while. It feels sturdier to me than my latest edition of the Oracle of the Shapeshifters deck, which felt a little flimsy for me compared to how Blue Angel Gallery usually produces their decks. Seems like they're back to a slightly sturdier cardstock, which I was very happy to see. So you can see that the back has that typical kitschy, like American version of or idea of Halloween on the back, and I actually really love that. I think it's really fun, and Stacey DeMarco does a nice job in this deck of honoring the historical and mythological aspects of Samhain, and also acknowledging and having fun and playing with the more kitschy, commercialized idea of Halloween that people typically think of when they think about Halloween. So, let me start by talking about the guidebook. So the guidebook is actually pretty thin, and she really doesn't get a whole lot into the history of Halloween, which was kind of disappointing to me. Much like the Le Vampire Oracle deck, I feel a little bit let down by this guidebook. And because I've had guidebooks by these authors in the past that have been really, really delicious and yummy, and I was able to really spend a lot of time with, and that I still reread and reread when I'm trying to create a better sense of balance in my life, or trying to understand the cards in a different way that I'm working with. To have a guidebook that's kind of slim pickings as far as really delicious information, wisdom, knowledge is disappointing for me. So I have been a little disappointed with the guidebook. There's a brief section on how to read with the cards, different card spreads. It's your basic card spreads, and then we get right into the card meanings. And you really only get a page for your card meaning. There's a little spell or poem, however you want to look at that, little stanza here. Then we kind of get into the meaning. The actual meaning itself is really just the final paragraph, and then this is just this section right here is a little information. So I will be honest, a little disappointed in the guidebook, only because to be honest, this is more of a guidebook that I would expect out of Hay House or something like that. And Blue Angel, I have high expectations for their guidebooks. So, that being said, you're still going to get you're still going to get information in this guidebook that's helpful to actually using the cards in readings. But that being said, the artwork itself is really beautiful in this deck, so I will go through and show you some images. So this is the Vampire card. So each card has the title, and then there's some keywords. This is typical to what we usually look at as Oracle deck work nowadays. And for this one, it's emotional intelligence. So these images are photo manipulation, but I actually don't mind it in this deck. I enjoy it, and I think this one is gorgeous. Here's the veil. So, you know, it doesn't bother me at all. There aren't really any images that I don't like. Here's the witch. So again, a play on that kind of commercialized idea that we have of different symbols for the Sabbath of Samhain, but also for Halloween as the holiday that most people participate in. And, you know, and that being said, she really does address with the cards in this deck a lot of symbolism for the holiday time, and really hits all of those things. Very, you know, very spot on with this deck. I'm just trying to find some of my favorite images from this one. You know, and so Johnny, I believe that, not Johnny, Jimmy Manton did the artwork for this deck again. So these two, Stacey DeMarco and Jimmy Manton, teamed up again. And I really love Jimmy Manton's work for the most part. I've been extremely impressed with his artwork in Alana Fairchild's and Stacey DeMarco's decks. I think they're really, really beautiful. I love this image for werewolf, and I usually don't like depictions of werewolves. You know, when you have like a very set image in your mind of what a certain type of mythological creature looks like, and things just very rarely ever meet or live up to that expectation. Werewolves are like that for me, and I'm quite often really disappointed in them. So for the past week, I've really been starting to work on my personal deck challenge, using one deck for a week, solely for my own purposes, only using one deck and kind of getting to know the deck better. And this is the deck that I've used, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. And actually for this autumn of 2014, I've been using this deck a lot for the daily draws on my Facebook page. I love this image. So there are so many images in this deck that I like that I'm actually showing you quite a few. Let me dial it back. Let's see. Oh, this one's beautiful. So there are a few cards in the deck that are called the skull cards, and I just want to show you them because they've actually been my favorite to work with so far. There's 4 in total. And I think, you know, of all the definitions in the guidebook, these are the ones that I really, really may perhaps align with, and so really get a lot out of. And I've gotten a lot out of working with these 4 cards, and so they've really been my favorite cards in the deck as far as the introduction to getting to know this deck and working with it. So here's the Skull of Darkness, Blind Spots. And as you would imagine, really talking about shadow work and how to step into that and understand where the shadow is, what's the shadow. Skull of Flowers. Again, this is the image that's on the box in the guidebook. And really, to me, this card lines up very closely with the Tower in Tarot. Skull of Stars, Infinite Possibilities. And then Skull of Light, Illumination. So these, look at that. These cards have really been my favorite in the deck, and ones that I've really, really enjoyed working with up to this date. So I've had this deck for, I think, about 2.5 months now. No. Maybe 2 months, I think. 1.5, 2 months, actually. And I have actually spent a lot of time with this deck and used it a lot, and it's on the altar in my kitchen just because it's perfect for this time of year. That being said, I think I will actually use it year-round, not just in the autumn season, this time on the wheel of the year when we're really, you know, shifting to an inward focus and honoring the Sabbath of Samhain and stepping into what that energy means for us on the wheel and where we are, you know, allowing things to end and to die and to really, again, turn inward. And you know, what does our experience mean for us at this time? So I think I won't exclusively use this deck for the Halloween Samhain time period, however you prefer to pronounce that. I think that this is a deck I would actually use year-round. And I also think it will be great for client readings as well, just because, like I said, the symbolism for this holiday is quite universal at this point in time, at least in America. And she really nailed it. Stacey DeMarco really nailed it for at least the client base that I work with physically in, New England. And I think that a lot of people can access the symbolism in these cards very easily for themselves and have an understanding of what the cards are sharing with them. So that excites me. And I definitely do plan to be using this deck over the next few weeks. But if you are looking to purchase this deck, at this point in time, it's really unique. There's not a lot of oracle decks or tarot decks that cover this theme, and it's a lot of fun to have in your collection. I think it's one that's fun to use with other people as well as for yourself. So I would say, from that standpoint, this deck is definitely one to purchase. I actually really, really like and enjoy the images in this card deck. None of them have disappointed me. I don't hate any of the cards and images in this deck. I love them. The only thing that was a disappointment to me was the guidebook, just because I felt like in previous decks by Stacey DeMarco, there was a lot more to pull from and a lot more information. And so I do miss that in this guidebook, and I really do wish that she'd been able to add more information, whether it was a time thing or a personal choice on her part. I mean, that's up to her. It's her deck. But I really love the Gods and Titans and Goddesses and Sirens guidebooks. And I felt like she gave us a lot to work with in those guidebooks. So this guidebook is not like those, at least in my opinion. So that was a little disappointing for me. But as far as the deck itself, it's very easy to work with. The card meanings are very clear and pretty much right on for the time that I've been working with it, which is since I purchased it. I've used this deck quite a lot, actually, over the last month and a half to 2 months. So I hope if you're considering purchasing this deck, this helps you. And I will see you all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what other deck reviews you would like to see this autumn. I'll be happy to get some more reviews up for you guys. So I will see you all soon. Take care. Many blessings. Bye.